Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is David Cox, and I'm the host of the New America Movement. So glad to have you tuning in today. We've got a great show for you guys. Let me pause just a moment and say, Jordan, it's good to have you again on the show. You're my host, my son, and it's always good teaming up with you, talking about what's going on in America, because Absolutely. I'll tell you, you can't make this stuff up. It's just really amazing how political leaders will spin and will work to stay in power. And we're going to talk about that over the next few moments. Now, a lot of you know that the left, people like Nancy Pelosi and Maxine Waters, have worked very, very hard to create states, to create cities that are called sanctuary cities. And of course, you know what that is. It's just a place that if you're a legal alien, it doesn't matter if you're a criminal, if you got mental issues, you can come and stay in those states or in those cities, and you're safe from any government agency coming in and deporting you back to your original country. Now, they say that's a great idea because these are people looking for a place to start over again in a country like America. So we know that hasn't worked very well, because if you go to San Francisco, you know there's a lot of crime in all these sanctuary cities, and San Francisco was one of the hubs for some of the most violent crimes in America today because of illegals that are living in these cities. The homeless rate, of course, you know, is off the chain. You drive down any of the streets, the interstates, homeless people are everywhere. You go to these places, you literally have to step over human feces. And you better hope you're not in a restaurant around anywhere, because it's very common for people to walk up and just grab your purse and run. And the police say, well, you know, we've sort of been defunded. We don't really pay attention to that anymore. Just call your credit card company and tell them what happened, and they'll take care of it for you. So that's kind of how the left want to run the country. Well, how well is that working for people, say in San Francisco? Because just this week, an interesting event happened. Paul Pelosi, Nancy Pelosi's husband, was assaulted in their home in San Francisco.
At approximately 2:27 this morning, San Francisco police officers were dispatched to the residence of Speaker Nancy Pelosi regarding an A-priority well-being check. When the officers arrived on scene, they encountered an adult male and Mr. Pelosi's husband, Paul. Our officers observed Mr. Pelosi and the suspect both holding a hammer. The suspect pulled the hammer away from Mr. Pelosi and violently assaulted him with it. Our officers immediately tackled the suspect, disarmed him, took him into custody, requested emergency backup, and rendered medical aid. The suspect has been identified as 42-year-old David DePepe. Mr. Pelosi and Mr. DePepe were transported to a local hospital for treatment. This is an active investigation currently being led by the San Francisco Police Department Special Investigations Division.
Let me start off by saying we're going to pray for Paul, that God gives him a speedy recovery. No politician, no civilian in America should ever be at the hand of any violent criminals. But unfortunately, it does happen. And when you do not have proper laws and policies and procedure, it happens a little more. Right or wrong, Jordan?
You're absolutely right. I just want to make note real fast. You're absolutely right. We pray for Paul's speedy recovery, immediate recovery, and we pray nothing but the best for him health-wise. Let me just ask this question. Now, I know this was breaking into a home, so it's a little bit different, but why didn't they, whenever Kavanaugh life was threatened, they didn't run the story. You had Rand Paul had 6 broken ribs from his neighbor, and on all of these left-wing mainstream media channels.
Jordan, are you crazy? Are you that ignorant? You can't answer that? You don't know the answer to that? Come on, son. Tell the folks why. Tell them why. You know.
He had 6 broken ribs. They were praising it. They actually said
he deserved it.
He deserved it.
That's different today.
But today, the left got hit.
And the story is different.
The story now is, this is going to shock y'all. This is just going to blow your mind. Because it blew my mind when I heard it. I was like, you know what they said? You know what they're trying to blame it on? You know who they're trying to blame it on? This is going to blow your mind.
They're blaming it on the Boy Scouts.
You're so close. So We're blaming it on Republicans.
No, why in the world would they do that?
Oh.
They've never done that before. That is such an odd way to take this story. The narrative.
So hold
Republicans.
on. So now this guy, David. If you want to say David De Pepe, if you want to say David De Pep, however you want to say it, I don't care. But anyway, 42 years old, breaks into the Pelosi home.
Now he was an upstanding member of their society.
He was everything Nancy Pelosi and
ever
them
wanted
voted for
in a voter. Ever wanted in a voter. And these people in California, I may be wrong on this, but I think they've even got the right to vote. I don't know. I have to look into that, but I know they're trying to get it.
They're trying to get it. They are trying to. I don't know if they can, but they are trying to get it. That is a very true statement. So this guy is an illegal alien, and he breaks into the house, and there's like 3 different stories on what happened inside the home. There's a story of where Paul Pelosi confronts the guy, tells him he has to go to the bathroom, calls 911. There's another story where he comes in and ties him up. David ties up Paul Pelosi. Then there's a story where he breaks through the window and he's like, "Where's Nancy? Where's Nancy?" The other one where he ties him up, he says, "We're going to wait for Nancy to get home." So there's 3 different stories. No one really knows what happened inside the home. All we know is when police got there, there seems to be a struggle over a hammer. Okay? So obviously he wasn't tied up. I don't know how you struggle over a hammer if you're tied up. I don't know if y'all can see me right now, but it's kind of hard to struggle over a hammer when you ain't got no dang arms. Anyway, so I digress. They come in, they say, Paul Pelosi saw him and let go of the hammer. And then that's when the guy right over the head. Now, I don't condone violence at all, period, zero. I think you are a despicable person if you try something like this. But he would never have been here. He would have never had the ability to break into this home. He would have never even known where they lived at. He would have never been in the country if it wasn't for Nancy Pelosi and all of her little cronies, Joe Biden and everybody else, Kamala Harris, all wanting our borders wide open for anybody to come in, from the southern border, from any border. They want everybody to come in. The problem is now left, now liberals, now Democrats. The problem is it's on your front doorstep. See, they went from, we can't handle all of these being bust up here because we don't have the ability to. We don't have the economic well-being of our citizen, of our city to do this. New York, the biggest city in America pretty much, and the biggest budget, can't house 6,000 to 11,000 illegal, okay, whatever. Then they go in, and now all of a sudden, the very same people that you are praising, when it comes to your doorstep, now it's, this is a state of emergency. And now with the Pelosi home, it's, this is just the Republicans. This is Republicans doing this. This isn't no illegal alien. This isn't no this or that. You know what? We believe Republicans had a hand in it. We believe Republicans got this illegal alien to get in here. Then they went out here and gave him. That's what they want you to believe. This guy was just mentally ill. He was his rap sheet's a mile long.
He has several felonies. He's a nudist.
Including elderly abuse. That's including that.
Yes. So he should have never been in this country. And it probably wouldn't have been if we had the right policies in place. So a couple things I want to point out before we close here. Here's what happens when you have the left making policies that directly affect the citizens of this country. Now, if they could get to Nancy Pelosi and her husband, what can they do to the average American citizen in this country? Well, let's see. We got fentanyl, 30,000 people a year die of overdose with fentanyl. Right now, there is an absolute fact that there are over 100 people who have crossed the border into this country who are known, according to what the FBI says, who are active terrorists entering into this country. And you say the border is safe and it's okay to let these people across the country. This is what happens when you lose control of your country, when you have politicians pushing issues for people who should not be in this country. And they're doing it at the expense of the American people. And I want to just close by saying this, Jordan. And the sad thing about it is, rather than sitting back and taking responsibility and saying, you know what, this is our policy, it's a part of our failed administration, we should not have made these policies so easy for everyone around the world to get into this country. But instead, they flip it and they blame it on conservatives. They blame it on you and I, who are Republicans, conservative Republicans, who, and our idea of life and how the country should be run is that we wouldn't tolerate this. But they're trying to say we are a part of the problem in this guy breaking into her house. So, what do you think about that?
So the reason they're blaming Republicans is because they're saying this is like January 6th. That's what they're saying. This is January 6th behavior. We wouldn't have this if it wasn't for January the 6th.
Like we caused this violence in this country.
So check this out now. You see how they keep bringing up January 6th? What's around the corner?
The elections, the midterms.
Okay, so what better way to get? And I'm not saying this is a setup. I don't.
It's not a setup, but it's convenient.
It's very convenient. I'm not saying that it's a setup, but there's a lot of sympathy votes that's going to be getting from this. There's going to be a lot of situations where you'll have people come in and say, you know what, like, you know, Nancy Pelosi got her husband got attacked fighting for this, so we're going to continue to do this, which is wrong. And so I just, I really, really want to talk just real fast. How many times did we see cities burn in 2020? Burn to the ground. You don't think that played a part in it? None? How about this? Democrats, are you willing to bet your paycheck? You willing to bet your vote that played no part in what he had to do or what he did? It was just January 6th. It was just that. And so that's why this mainstream media is pushing this. It's for the election. It's so people can say, oh, well, the right is violent, the left is not. And so I would want to read this. I should write back to you. I believe her name is Antina Gonzalez, 21 years old, identified herself in a phone call Friday as DePepe's daughter. She said she wrote in a blog post that her mother kicked DePepe out when she was 13 because of alleged toxic behavior. So, the mother could recognize that this guy was sick. The mother could recognize, I got to get this guy away to protect my daughter. But our own country that's supposed to protect its citizens literally can't even do that. So we have a mother that says, look, you got to go. You're too toxic for my daughter. I'm seeing some stuff here I don't like. Drug use, whatever. Bad behavior, whatever. You got to go. She did that for her daughter. But now we got a country that won't even kick out people like this because they are too scared of the political fallout. Protect your kids. Hey, who are the kids here? The people. The people are the kids here. Protect us.
Absolutely right, Jordan. And I'm just amazed how they politicize everything. They just assume they can spin this and there's going to be some poor soul out there that doesn't know a lot about politics and is going to think that this act of violence against Paul Pelosi is absolutely the result of January 6th. And I have to say that you got to be blind to believe that. So, close up one word and we'll move on to the next subject.
Yeah, so I just got one thing to say and we're going to close. Pelosi, what do you think about guns now?
Very interesting, very interesting. Folks, there you have it. What a story. Nancy Pelosi's policies coming home. Oh, we're so sad that Paul Pelosi was at the short end of this stick. We're going to pray for him. But this is what happens when you have these liberals making these crazy left-wing policies. Thank you so much for tuning in to New America. God bless you, and we'll see you again.